As students take part in today's CareerQuest TN, it's all about business event. One activity they will be involved in is a professional interview. Here to share with us more about how important this activity is for these students' future careers is Karen Ritchie, owner of Success Dynamics. Hello, good morning. How are you doing, Karen?
Good morning. I'm doing great.
Fantastic. Let's talk about this. When you do these interviews, what do you hope the students gain by doing this activity?
They need a little experience going into that first job, and the interview is a very scary part of any job experience, but it's a very important part. And we give them a practice interview to let them have a little bit of experience under their belt and give them primarily feedback and coaching, which they're not going to get in an actual job interview, but we provide that as part of this practice interview to give them a heads up and a good start on that job interview when it will really count.
And you know, I know pretty much all of us have gone to virtual interviews for this year. Have you and your volunteers noticed that shift as well in your businesses?
Yes, we have had to, of course, because of current conditions. We have been forced to go to a virtual life in many realms beyond what we wanted to do, but we've all had to cope, as I'm sure everyone else has. A lot of the interviews for actual jobs are also being done virtually, so yes.
And is that a trend you're noticing? Are more and more companies going to, especially that first interview, doing that first interview virtually?
Yes, many companies were already doing that. Of course, the conditions now accelerated that, but they will continue, I feel sure, with the virtual interviews simply because of the convenience of the time and place and travel involved. It makes it much easier. But I want to emphasize that count on having an actual in-person interview at some point.
Absolutely. And what kind of feedback have you gotten from the students about the virtual interviews? Have y'all noticed how they're handling it?
They seem to be doing very well. I think the fact that they've been doing some virtual classes has prepared them for this, and many of the students are well versed in some of the online Zoom and things like that. They've been doing a lot of that, so they seem to be pretty comfortable with the technology. But one thing that I want to emphasize to the students is just because it's easy to do and you can maybe remain at home or remain in your classroom, still consider that it's an interview and consider how important it is. So don't forget that part.
Absolutely, absolutely. And let's talk about, you know, you've got the closing session coming up later today. What tips are you planning on providing the students at that closing session?
Well, we want to congratulate them and encourage them for the good response that we have seen. We have had very good response from the students, and they have seemed positive about it. And I have a team of professional interviewers, which consists of many HR professionals around the Johnson City area and around the region, and they have donated their time and volunteered their time to conduct these interviews for all these students in different schools. And they've just done a great job with that, and they came away feeling much more confident with some of the good qualities that these students have brought to these interviews.
Absolutely. And you know, some of our viewers right now may be getting ready to apply for a new job or applying for a first job. What tips can you offer them?
Please, if you do an interview, consider it as important. If you do an online, consider it as important as a actual in-person interview. And that means dress like you would dress to go to the interview. And I think that's one thing that I would like to also emphasize to the students is make a little bit of extra effort in your appearance and everything about it, because that is all part of what somebody's going to be making a judgment and a decision about whether you get that job.
You know, you've been doing this for many years. Talk to me about, have you got any pleasant surprises for you or your volunteers that you noticed during the process of doing this?
The very first time we did this, we were a little bit skeptical about how interested the students would be. So we were pleasantly surprised from day one that the students have showed more interest than we expected, and that has continued through the 4 years of this event. So we are pleasantly surprised at the students' interest, and I'm very pleased with the teachers and the preparation they have put into helping these students prepare for these interviews. Some of the teachers have spent classroom time in helping the students prepare. Of course, we send out the questions in advance to the students, and they can practice, and we want them to, and I hope they have. And it's very evident that some of them have put some good time into this.
Practice makes perfect. Carrie and Ritchie, thank you so much for taking time with us, and thank you for what you're doing for the local high school students around here as well.
Great, glad to help.
All right, Carrie and Ritchie with Success Dynamics. Folks, CareerQuest TN 2021, it's all about business is going on right now. We'll be back with more daytime in just a few moments.